This gathering of couples took reality television chaos to a level we have never seen before, and the internet is completely losing its mind over the betrayal. Today on Squad Scoop, we are exposing every single couple, peeling back the hidden details the cameras missed, and breaking down the moments that left the entire community absolutely speechless. Stay tuned until the very end, because the final blowout between Jasmine and Gino is something absolutely nobody saw coming. Let's get directly into the mess. The collapse of the relationship between Kehani and Oilo stands as a masterclass in how a single deceptive trip can trigger a cascading avalanche of resentment and bizarre medical diagnoses. The trouble began when Oilo traveled to Samoa to visit his father, a trip that quickly transformed into a nightly cycle of heavy drinking and questionable boundaries. Rumors surfaced that he had kissed someone while away, but the method of discovery was what truly caught everyone off guard.
He went drinking, he supposedly just kissed someone, and how I found out was he was FaceTiming me and he stuck his tongue out and his tongue was white. And he's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "That's a yeast infection. You have thrush. And there's only certain ways you can get it. So you either kiss someone here or you kiss someone down there."
During that FaceTime call after his return, Kehani noticed a distinct white coating on his tongue and immediately concluded that he had contracted thrush. She asserted that there are only very specific, intimate ways someone can develop that condition. Now, medically speaking, a white tongue can easily stem from simple dehydration caused by heavy alcohol consumption. It can also be a sign of generally poor oral hygiene. Still, it served as the ultimate catalyst for Kehani to demand the absolute truth. The poor woman could barely speak during the confrontation without her voice cracking and tears falling. It was a heartbreaking sight that made it obvious how deeply she was hurting and how much she needed to find a path toward genuine healing. Oilo eventually cracked under the pressure, admitting that someone had offered him an even deeper level of intimacy and that he had accepted the offer, effectively ending any semblance of trust between them. The situation shifted from a standard infidelity dispute into absolute irony when Oilo attempted to fix his massive mistake by offering Kehani a hall pass to even the score. He handed her this permission under the arrogant assumption that she was far too traditional and reserved to ever actually use it.
When I say that, I have trust for her that she's not gonna do that.
I don't understand how someone can tell you you can do something and you do it and then they're upset. You gave me a hall pass, I took it.
He explicitly stated to the group that he had a profound trust that she would never go through with such an action. He completely miscalculated the breaking point of a woman who had given him everything.
I was a virgin when I met him, and I was almost 29 years old. So I trusted him, and I loved him, and I gave him literally everything. So for him to just betray me and betray me and betray me and betray me, so for him to finally say, "Okay, betray me," then okay, I will.
Kehani revealed that she was a complete virgin when she met him, preserving herself until almost 29 years old, only to be met with a repetitive cycle of betrayal and disrespect. Treating a partner with that level of carelessness is entirely baffling. It forces a person to look at the relationship and realize that Kehani might have had a completely different life if she had not treated her husband as though he possessed a fully mature, functioning adult brain. Driven to her absolute limit by his constant emotional neglect, she chose to utilize the hall pass, a decision that left Oilo completely stunned and upset. The online consensus completely flips the script on Oilo's so-called generous offer, pointing out the dark psychology behind it. He didn't hand over that option out of genuine remorse. He did it as a manipulative tactic to set the parameters of his own punishment, hoping to pick a sentence that wouldn't actually hurt his own ego. When Kehani took that pass and completely shattered his expectations by finding a new partner, she didn't just break a rule, she exposed his massive double standards. While two wrongs never truly make a right in the grand scheme of a marriage, it is impossible not to understand exactly why she decided to throw his own weapon back at him after years of enduring his selfishness. The emotional fallout from that confrontation barely had time to settle before the spotlight shifted to Yara and Joby, a couple whose maturity levels are so wildly mismatched that it makes a person wonder why she remains with him. Yara presents herself as an incredibly mature, thoughtful, responsible, and beautiful woman, while Joby consistently behaves like an absolute child who dismissively invalidates her feelings at every single turn. The breaking point for them escalated rapidly the night before their scheduled group session, when Joby got into a massive argument with Yara and decided the best remedy was to head down to the resort bar.
"You're my husband, And you choosing to go out and get drunk with Angela than spending time with me.
There, he met up with Angela, a woman whose historical behavior is so incredibly aggressive and disorderly that she honestly should have been arrested years ago for disorderly conduct and aggravated assault. The two of them stayed out drinking until 2 o'clock in the morning, which was bad enough on its own. But Joby took it a step further by bringing Angela back to the room to wake Yara up to join their drunken party. Yara was understandably furious, completely refusing to tolerate his disrespect. Yet that entire midnight debacle turned out to be nothing more than a mild warm-up for the absolute bomb that dropped during the group therapy session the next day. The true depth of Joby's deception came to light when Big Ed, who is a notorious loser with a messy track record of his own, decided to snitch and reveal a series of hidden text messages.
Please look at me and tell me who you text. Which stripper in Jamaica?
No stripper
The
in
stripper
Jamaica.
who you traveled to Jamaica?
The one he traveled with.
You text the stripper that you've been with her in Jamaica?
I just said, hey, do you live in Key West? And what club do you work at? And that's it.
Joby had been actively texting an exotic dancer. This was not just a random dancer from a local venue, but someone he had previously traveled with to Jamaica for a full 2 weeks. In the messages, Joby was actively inquiring about where she lived and which club she was currently working at, offering the incredibly flimsy excuse that he merely wanted to invite her out to party with the entire reality television group. The internet has widely rejected his standard excuse of being too drunk to function, noting that alcohol does not magically create a hidden contact list of performers from past trips. A man who goes out of his way to text a performer from his past while on a marriage retreat is not someone who is genuinely committed to his wife, and watching him attempt to brush the situation off as a simple byproduct of being drunk was incredibly pathetic. Getting defensive and angry when called out is the classic reaction of someone who knows they are completely in the wrong, but refuses to take accountability for their actions. This is exactly where Florian started inserting himself into the drama, actively fueling the fire by siding with the guys and stirring up the resort tension. The environment reached an absolute boiling point until Yara decided she had endured enough of Joby's lies and excuses, leading to a moment that completely stunned the entire room.
Why would you text her? Why? What's the point? Then I know you like her. Why would you text the stripper?
Just trying to have fun last night, that's it.
To have fun with her?
Not with her.
When
No.
you are married, you want to have fun with the
I
stripper?
wanted to have fun with the guys, and that's all. I'm sorry.
And just like that, the drink was in his face. The group was speechless. Even Ed, who has his own terrible track record, looked genuinely shocked by the sheer speed of the escalation. Nobody believes Ed acted out of a sense of moral duty here. He intentionally weaponized Joby's secrets in front of the entire group to deflect attention away from his own miserable behavior with women, perfectly orchestrating the tension that led directly to that liquid retaliation. What made this even worse is that Joby had actively asked the other guys to lie to their wives about the strip club. He dragged everyone else into his mess. By aggressively refusing to hand over his phone to Yara and forcing a culture of secrecy, his behavior shifts from simple immaturity into an active campaign of gaslighting. Yara deserved better than this. Full stop. The digital trail left behind by Sophie and Rob introduces an entirely different flavor of relational dysfunction, shifting the retreat from a space of healing into a courtroom of digital receipts. Sophie brought a massive, highly specific accusation to the entire group.
I basically just want to say that it's been very difficult for me with my marriage with Rob, and I've been trying very hard. I found out he's at this retreat, and he's still messaging other women trying to have sex with them, and he's on dating apps, and he doesn't really give a to be here for me. I think he's treating this like a vacation.
She recounted the intense frustration of watching him secretly message other women, closing his phone and hiding the screen the exact second he realized she was looking over his shoulder while they were actively staying at a marriage restoration resort. Some might argue that calling out a husband in front of a room full of strangers is immature, but dealing with a partner who constantly plays psychological games can drive anyone to a breaking point. Sophie's public confrontation was so intensely stressful that her voice visibly broke under the weight of the humiliation. Rob's immediate defense mechanism was a masterclass in emotional evasion, turning the blame entirely back onto Sophie by pulling out a literal screenshot from his phone.
Hi, as of March 4th, 2023, me and you are on a break, and I give you permission to act single and will not hold this against you.
While Rob treated this screenshot as an absolute get-out-of-jail-free card, the broader audience has thoroughly picked his logic apart, using a temporary permission slip from a previous breakup to justify maintaining active dating profiles while physically sitting in an active marriage counseling session is a massive stretch of reality. Rob is essentially treating his marriage like a corporate contract, hunting for loopholes to justify acting single while expecting Sophie to stay committed. It highlights the exhausting toll of dealing with an absolute text message lawyer who would rather win a technicality than actually save his relationship. The entire situation devolved into a complete circus as other cast members fan the flames, transforming private marital pain into community entertainment, with Jasmine pushing Sophie to expose the receipts publicly, until the bickering became so destructive that the professional therapist had to step in, halt the session, and physically force the two of them to take personal space from each other.
I would ask that just everybody, men and women, can just take a step back and let this be between Rob and Sophie.
When a trained mediator has to call an emergency timeout just to stop a married couple from tearing each other apart, it tells you everything you need to know about the terminal state of their relationship. This brings the narrative to the absolute peak of the retreat's chaos, the explosive, unforgettable meltdown between Jasmine and Gino. The room completely shattered when Jasmine calmly introduced the concept of an ethical, non-monogamous open marriage as the only viable path to save their relationship.
Do you have someone in mind that you want to have an open marriage with?
Yes.
You have someone in mind?
Yes.
The therapist, sensing a deeper hidden motive, asked her directly if she already had a specific individual in mind for this arrangement, and Jasmine dropped an absolute nuclear bomb by looking right at Gino and saying yes. She openly revealed his name is Matt, a close acquaintance from her local gym, whom she had been building an intimate bond with over the prior 3 months. Gino's response was instantaneous. His face twisted in absolute shock as he weaponized the word cheater, completely shut down the conversation, and walked out of the room.
Why you don't just accept, Gino, that you will never be intimate with me, and you're such a selfish person that you don't want me to be with anyone either?
Go be with another guy. You've already ruined it. You've already ruined it.
However, public sympathy across the internet has shifted heavily in a direction that might completely surprise casual observers of the show. While Jasmine is miles away from being perfect and is undeniably loud, eccentric, and incredibly obnoxious at times, the general consensus online highlights a heartbreaking truth. She spent months begging and pleading for Gino to show her a single shred of basic physical affection, facing a total desert of intimacy for 9 straight months. Her proposal of an open marriage wasn't a deceptive, backhanded affair. It was a transparent, desperate cry for human connection from a woman who felt entirely invisible and abandoned by her husband. Even the therapist validated her emotional state, explicitly telling the room that Jasmine wasn't crazy or a bad wife for craving that fundamental connection. Gino, entirely incapable of addressing his own deep-seated shortcomings, chose to stonewall her instead, walking out and leaving her to defend herself against a room full of opinions. And that is when things went completely off the rails, triggered once again by Florian aggressively jumping into the crossfire, picking a fight with Jasmine, and pushing the entire room to its limit.
Man, and all the girls is like,
Guys,
bro,
guys,
give me this goddamn.
I'm gonna do it every time.
A literal shoe launched across the room during a professional counseling session. While the moment was outwardly wild and had the other couples in the room holding back laughs, it underscores the tragic reality of a woman who has run entirely out of words and snapped under a mountain of cold indifference. But the real dark twist to Florian's constant meddling came when the host sat him down after the chaos to ask if he had a single shred of remorse for his behavior at the resort.
Florian, how do you feel seeing your reactions? Is there anything that you regret?
Oh no, for what?
Not a single apology. He treated his short fuse like a point of pride. But it was Stacy who stopped the entire room when she quietly dropped a reality check that completely altered how we view his presence at the resort.
So basically you're saying I trigger you like every day, because that reaction like you gave Jasmine is what I get at home.
Trigger.
What he showed everyone at that resort, the volatile, aggressive outbursts he displays toward outsiders, is the exact same behavior Stacy has to live with every single day behind closed doors. It turns out he isn't just a bystander stirring the pot for fun. He is bringing that exact same hostility home to his wife. It is incredibly sad to see someone stay with a partner who treats them with that level of aggression, especially when it feels like the only reason she chose him was for his looks and youth. The therapist hit the nail on the head. Stacy deserves his softness, not his anger. That is the complete, unfiltered breakdown of the most chaotic episode of the season. From FaceTime medical diagnoses to secret stripper texts, hidden dating profiles, and flying shoes, these couples are no longer fighting for their marriages. They are fighting for survival on national television. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know, who is the absolute biggest villain of this entire episode? Is it Joby with the Jamaica stripper texts, Rob with his text loopholes and hidden dating profiles, or Oilo with his trap hall pass? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss the next deep dive breakdown here on Squad Scoop. We cover every single episode, every piece of drama, and every moment worth talking about. See you in the next one.
Wait. So wait.
Oh my God, yeah.
Through some of this energy. This is not a couples thing, okay? You don't have to talk anymore.